Welcome to the Channel's Book Club. Between August and September 2013, the Channel's Book Club organized a national book review and essay contest for students in secondary schools in Nigeria. It was tagged the Channel's Book Club Prize for Literature. The best three contestants, 15-year-old Eniola Oladipo, who came first, 12-year-old Honor Charles Obaze, who came second, and 14-year-old God's Favor Nna, who came third, all earned a sponsored trip to the 2013 Frankfurt Book Fair in Frankfurt, Germany. The competition was supported by Lufthansa German Airline, Latana Books, Goethe Institute, and the government of Rivers State. The trip to Germany was an incredible and an unforgettable one for the girls. Apart from the book fair, they visited a few other exciting destinations in and around Frankfurt. Next week, we'll be showing you how their trip went, and you'll be hearing the girls narrate some of their experiences and lessons. But today, we want to share an amazing discovery we made during that trip to Germany with the girls. Welcome back. One of the places we visited with the girls in Germany was the Jahn Library for African Literatures at Johannes Gutenberg University, which is located in Mainz, a historically important city in Germany. Mainz, as you might know, is the city of Gutenberg, the inventor of the printing press. At the institute, we met the library's director, the very amiable and brilliant Dr. Anya Ud, who welcomed us and led us around. She was gracious enough to respond to many of our questions. This astonishing library with over 20,000 volumes of African literature is, in our opinion, nothing short of an indictment on our culture of disregard for documentation and historicity in Nigeria and Africa in general. Before I let you into our special discovery, which will be the main focus of today's episode, here's a report on the library.
History can be described as the capture of a people's journey through time and are usually stored in books. But beyond the capture of historical events in book form is the preservation of memory. And there are those who travel far and wide to gather relics for this purpose. At the Johannes Gutenberg University in Mainz, Germany, is the Institute of Anthropology and African Studies, which is home to a special library. The Jahn Library is one of the earliest and most comprehensive research facilities for African literatures in Europe and beyond.
Hello, nice to meet you. Hello. Please come in, hello.
The director of the library welcomes the team with a lesson on its beginnings.
I'm so pleased to meet you, and I'll show you the library and explain a few things about the collection and the history of the library. This man whom you see here on the poster, his name is Jan-Heinz Jahn. In 1950, he attended a lecture on poetry by black writers. And that lecture really changed his life, because on that night he decided that he just loved this poetry that he heard. And so from that day he started to collect more poetry, novels, creative writing by black writers from all over the world, and many African countries as well. He started to translate them into German, and the first result of his work was an anthology called Schwarze Orpheus.
Its collection comprises creative writing from Africa in more than 80 languages, including classics in African literature and locally produced literature.
So now we're in the heart of the Jahn Library, and we're in the West African section. Here you find creative writing by West African writers who have chosen to write in English. This is all of that section. You find some older texts as well as some fairly recently published novels and plays and poetry. And in this section we also have creative writing published in a number of West African languages.
Even in the book,
They said
in the book he has thick eyebrows and then white nose and then.
And the girls have questions of their own.
There's so many books. Is there a single country in Africa that you don't have a literature on?
That is a really interesting question. I'm not sure. From some countries we may only have one single novel, or there are also some languages which we may only have one single title in. But I'm not sure that there is one country we don't have one single book in.
Wow. Like the founder of this library, I'd like to know the author of the poem he really got interested in.
Oh, that was not one single poem, but the lecture that he listened to in 1950 was presented by a Senegalese writer. That was Léopold Sédar Senghor, who later became the president of Senegal. And he was very modest. He did not even present his own poetry. He was a big writer, a very famous writer, but he didn't present his own poetry, but poetry by other black writers that he liked. And some of them were in French, most of them were in French, but others were actually in Senegalese languages, like Wolof or Syria. So it was just the general idea of that poetry, which to Jahn in the 1950s seemed very different, but still so vibrant and so deep, full of meaning. And he wanted to sort of communicate that meaning to a German readership. That's why he started translating it for German readers.
This library is in the university, so are students allowed to come here and take books out to read?
In fact, every semester I alone teach 3 seminars on African literatures, different subjects, and each semester there are about 100 students who then read novels on different subjects. And the courses include titles like 20th century African literature, or Introduction to African Literatures, or Yoruba literature and film adaptations. That are some of the titles. But we also have thematic courses like literary cityscapes or civil war in African literature and topics like that.
So they read the West African languages, most of them?
No. The titles in West African languages, that is quite specialized, and so you would have to learn the languages first, and not many have that competence. Some know a little bit of Yoruba, some may know a little bit of Swahili, an Eastern African language, but most of them read the Anglophone and Francophone texts.
The collection also holds translations, film adaptations of literary works and audiobooks, as well as a large number of critical sources and academic journals, one of which is the Chinua Achebe 1979 Berlin speech.
Without mentioning that the telex message from Berlin came to me, I might almost say came at me, from 3 different sources: the Nigerian Airways, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, and, believe it or not, the Nigerian police.
History is an important piece of any culture, and its preservation is key to showing generations unborn a way to go.